Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 234 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And imagine your team has just won the Super Bowl and you're headed off to Disney World. But have you called your travel agent? Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you could join us. Let's start off like we do on the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany and Bethlehem.
This is Sally from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello.
Hello.
For us, this is very deja vu-ish. For our listeners, it's not going to seem that weird at all. It's a power of delayed putting things up and not having them released till later. Because as we're recording this, it's Thursday.
Yes.
Yeah. We just recorded like 3 days ago. But Rachel's going on vacation, and it just happened to work out really well that our guest this week was available. So it's like,
Yes.
hey, we can record this, and then we'll have an episode for next week while Rachel's on vacation. So, woo! But before we get to our special guest, we need to do the news. Apparently, Salt Lake Fan X. This one wasn't dry yet, I guess. The contract wasn't completely dry when they made their big announcement with all those celebrities. But we're going to get, for all the Once Upon a Time fans, especially Regina, because Lana is going to be there. It just so happens that her sister is going to be coming as well. So Rebecca Mader, who played Zelina, is going to be coming to Salt Lake Fan X. So, which, if you follow her on social media, that you know that sometime between now and then she's going to pop.
Yes. She's going to be having a baby.
Yes. So yeah, that'll be I'm assuming that Salt Lake Fan X probably does duo photo ops along with singles. Probably that's fairly common in the convention sphere. So, you know, if you want your photo with the evil sisters, although they turn out pretty good in the end. So,
well, one's evil, the other one was wicked.
Yes, but they both turned out pretty nice in the end, though.
That is true.
Yep.
That is true.
So there's
You
that.
just don't want to get on the bad side of either of them when they team up and join forces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not even Rumpel could save you from that one.
Moving on to stemming off of our last episode's conversation about a book being adapted for Amazon Prime or Netflix, depending on what part of the internet. Amazon. I think we talked about this when they first announced it that they're adapting Wheel of Time. But we have our first casting announcement. Rosamund Pike is going to be playing Maureen. Was that right?
I think that's how it's pronounced.
I haven't read the book.
I haven't read the book. It's on my to be read pile, which is almost TARDIS size now.
Yeah.
It's a good problem to have, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. that's a thing. Like, I don't know anything really about the series, and I don't really know anything about Rosamund Pike either. So, but I'm assuming we'll hear more as they cast more people. So, so there's that. And then in Disney wants more money.
And wants to make sure that they take Avatar out of the number 1 spot,
which it shouldn't be that hard. It's only like $50 million out of the top slot, which I would say only, but you know, considering Endgame made $1 billion opening weekend, 50 million is really just not a whole lot. So, but no, while doing press for Spider-Man Far From Home, Kevin Feige confirmed that they're going to re-release Avengers Endgame into the movie theater, although most places the original cut is probably still in theaters.
It's not at my local one, but it's a 30-minute drive to go see it.
Yeah, it wasn't mine as of last week. I haven't checked this week, but actually I think it was as of a couple days ago this week. So depending on where you live, I don't know, like if both will play or if they'll pull the original cut or what. That's not my job, so whatever. But anyway, it's going to be re-released with extra scenes that weren't included, obviously, in the first. And then there's also going to be a proper post-credit scene and what they're calling just a tribute, which we could probably assume is probably some sort of tribute to Stan Lee. Therefore, you know, if the movie didn't make me cry enough already, it's probably safe to assume when they say a tribute that it probably is, because they've also released the DVD cover art and what's going to be on the DVD Blu-ray releases, and there's going to be a tribute to Stan Lee on that. So, but yeah, as it's supposed to start screening this weekend as we're recording this, I think. So check your local listings. I guess
call your local movie theater and find out.
Check the run time.
Yeah.
If it says more than 3 hours, then you got the right one. If it only says 3 hours, that's the original cut.
I think they said it's like an additional 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Worth of stuff.
Something like that. So.
Yeah. Makes me wonder when it gets released. Did they say when it gets released on Blu-ray and DVD? What version is it, or is it gonna be like both? Like
they haven't said.
I can't.
Well, no, because the article that I looked at that had like the extras or what's going to be included in the disc says missing footage or cut footage or whatever. So I'm assuming it'll be the original theatrical release, and then this extra stuff will just be a bonus feature on the disc.
Because basically, the articles that I've been kind of reading with the theatrical release with the extra footage is that extra footage is just going to be stuff at the end. Nothing's going to be plunked into the main movie proper. Yeah. That was my understanding and interpretation from 3 articles that I read just to make sure.
Yeah.
But if we're proven wrong, I will be more than happy.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. It could be 30 seconds of new footage, and I'd be like, all right, I'm off to the movie theater.
Yep.
I got my adult diaper on. I'm not getting up.
And hopefully Kevin Feige is good to his word on the extras that we get Luis giving the rundown of the whole 10
The
years
MCU,
of,
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I would pay to go see it in the theater just for that. So, speaking of things being released on discs, this case Blu-ray, because we mentioned the rumor, not so rumor, because Colin Baker had essentially confirmed it at a convention a couple weeks ago. But now we have the official Doctor Who announcement with a fun little short that the Sixth Doctor is getting the Blu-ray treatment, but instead of doing the start of his run, they are doing the Trial of the Time Lord.
Nice.
So it's so the but it's going to have along with remastering of the episodes, the Blu-ray set is going to include extended edits of all of the episodes,
Nice.
a standalone edition of Terror of the Vervoids with updated like special effects. Yeah. Behind the Sofa with Colin Baker, Nicola Bryant, Bonnie Langford. The Writer's Room, where they'll discuss the Lost season 23. The Doctor Who Cookbook Revisited. The Doctor's Table, join Colin Baker and friends for dinner. Yes, please. Where was my invitation? A conversation with Bonnie Langford, plus unseen studio footage, stuff out of the archives, convention footage, a Blu-ray trailer, HD photo gallery, scripts, costume designs, and more. And also, let's see, the 6-disc box set also includes hours of extensive special features previously released on DVD. So, and they, like I said, they released the announcement trailer with Colin Baker in the short appearance with Nicola Bryant. Colin is on trial for a parking ticket. He goes off. Yeah. He goes off on a Sixth Doctor tangent. So
in typical Sixth Doctor style.
Yeah. But it'll obviously the 4 stories are The Mysterious Planet, Mind Warp, Terror of the Vervoids, and The Ultimate Foe. So, which is interesting that that with it in the description from the Doctor Who, the website, it's like starring alongside Colin Baker, with Nicola Bryant and Bonnie Langford and Michael Jaston, and it's like special guest appearances from Anthony Ainley and all these people. There's no mention of Brian Blessed.
Yep.
He's not mentioned in the list.
You're kidding. It's one of his episodes.
I know.
It's not like he's like a small part. He's a pretty big part in that episode.
No kidding.
I'm not just saying that because how do you not mention Brian Blessed?
I don't know.
Somebody
Let's send a tweet now. Dear Doctor Who, how could you not include mention of Brian Blessed with all the other names of people that will appear?
And if you do the Twitter, stories, make sure you add Brian Blessed as well. Like, hey.
Yeah. Otherwise, Brian Blessed is going to come after you going, what?
Yes.
I'm not included? Oh, bless Brian Blessed. I was just listening to the Queen's theme from Flash Gordon. So
Yes.
all right. And feedback. We got a little bit of feedback from Shalane. Following up on the extensive announcements from Salt Lake FanX that we mentioned last episode, where Kel Mitchell is going to be one of the guests. She says, did you know that there's a planned revival of all that, and that Keenan and Kel are going to be executive producers for it? Which I did not know that, but that makes sense because everything from the 90s is
I remember hearing something about that a while ago, but it was mainly like rumor, so I guess now it's you shall see.
Yeah. And now Shalane is one, and she's also wondering if maybe Keenan could be announced as a guest for FanX, which possibility. They've showed up at a couple of places together. So, I mean, of the two of them, Keenan's got slightly better career, I think. I don't want to say better, but he's more prolific, I guess. I mean, the Saturday Night Live gig is kind of a good gig, so he's done pretty good at it. So it's a possibility. I would totally be down for that. So. Welcome to Good Burger. Welcome to Good Burger. Can I take your order? So, we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Indeed.
Yeah, like I said, just they're rebooting everything left and right. So, rebooting, reviving. It's our turn. It's our generation's turn. Not that I really want them to for some things, but other things I'm like, yes. So we'll see. All right. Well, this week we are super excited to have with us just a really cool gal. And I'm extremely jealous of her life. Her Instagram is extremely drool-worthy, especially every time she steps on a cruise ship. But if you've listened to Lou Mangello, the WW radio show, then you have heard her voice, her actual voice, not Lou's princess voice for her, but her actual voice. But welcome to the show for the first and hopefully not the last time. We'll see how it goes. From MEI Mousefan Travel, Beci Mahnken.
Hi, it is so great to be here with you ladies. And actually, I'm really envious of you guys. You have a podcast of women talking about really cool fangirl stuff that normally I'm on these podcasts that are just full of testosterone. So this is a really cool, unique experience for me.
Yeah, I have to throw Lou under the bus, and I have a few times, especially since we started doing this, especially when he gets around to talking about anything Marvel related, because like he did like his big MCU like episode before Infinity War last year. And everybody, all of his guests were all guys. And
you know what? I had a couple of words for that too. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Where are the ladies here?
Yeah.
Because we do have opinions about Marvel. I definitely have very strong opinions about Marvel, and maybe that's why it was left out.
And considering we had a group of ladies in Endgame coming to help.
Yeah,
exactly. That was.
Then he went on the Marvel cruise and did a review of that, and everybody that he brought on were all dudes again.
What is with that? Really?
I don't know. But with the cruise, I can understand because it is a bit more limited, the people that actually went on that cruise and the people he knows and could bring on. But still, it's like you couldn't find a girl.
I know. I'm sitting right here. I'm sitting right here. Actually, I didn't get to go on the cruise, unfortunately. That's one that I haven't done yet. That's on my list.
Me too.
Yeah. So just know that somewhere in the back of my brain, I'm looking for just the right date.
Yeah. I could wax poetic about DCL.
Oh, we could probably spend 4 hours just talking about that alone.
We could spend 4 hours talking about Palo Brunch.
Oh, yum.
Meanwhile, the other two are like, "What are you talking about? We have no idea."
Exactly.
It sounds like it could be very good.
Yeah. Less than 10 minutes in, and we're talking about Disney food. Yay!
I was gonna say, how did we get there already?
Not even here.
I feel like that's not surprising at all.
Well, with Becky here, it could be a combination of food, drinks, and her love of Chris Hemsworth. So,
or any of the Chris's at this point, really, any of the Chris's.
His name is Chris, and he's in the MCU. There you go.
Yes.
Well, and hey, they were both able to hold Mew Mew, so hey.
Yeah. And Pratt's not too bad either. So.
Nope. Somebody's in the middle of a rewatch of Thor.
Yeah.
It is worthy to rewatch once, twice, 10, 20, how many, whatever it takes. 3,000. Love you, 3,000.
Whatever it takes.
Yep. Whatever it takes. Oh my. Oh, fangirls. Yay. So let's steer the conversation away from Chris Hemsworth's biceps for just a moment. Because this, at least as far as Lou's show, I don't know if he's ever really I don't remember when, but just you just started appearing one episode. Wow. And you've just been kind of appearing ever since. And it's just been kind of this thing where it's Lou and Becky and MEI Mousefan Travel, and Lou plans things and doesn't tell you. And
well, it's really funny because I've been blessed to have a lot of great partners, and that's one thing that we did early on was I've been doing this for a long time. This is like 20 years in the travel industry for me, and I'm kind of like a jack of all trades and master of none. I did a whole bunch of different jobs before I landed on this one, and for some reason I was drawn to travel. I fell in love with it. And when I started focusing on the Disney side of things, there was a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot. There were a handful of other agencies that were really focused on the Disney travel niche and the theme park travel niche. Some of them were choosing to create their own communities. And there was a choice back then to go, am I going to spend a whole bunch of my time creating my own community with my own bulletin boards and my own arena? Or should I select partners who do that really, really well so that I can do the travel piece really, really well? And that's the path that I went down. And I was lucky enough to have great partners like All Ears and Passporter right out of the gate. So I was very close with them for about 18 years now. And then my partnership with Lou came in right around the first or second, it was the second Mouse Meets that was up there in Pennsylvania. And we hit it off right away as friends. And then the following year, he approached me and we started talking and found that we really, our communities and our business outlooks matched, and that we could really bring something to each other's table. So we partnered. My very first event with him was the last Adventurers Club event. Mm-hmm. The night before it closed down forever. So that was our very first attempt at an event together. And it was shortly after that he said, hey, you know what? You should be on the show. And I'm like, I'm kind of that person behind the curtain, pulling levers like a mad person and letting whoever's out front just look as good as they possibly can. That's my background. So for him to be out on whatever stage and getting all the spotlights, great for me. But he said, come on the show. So the first time I went on, and if you ever hear it, it's the worst show I've ever done in my entire existence because I didn't know what was going to be thrown at me. And I didn't know enough about him to know what I was in for. And at one point, he kind of zings me from the side, and I'm thinking, in the back of my mind going, oh my gosh, what do I do? Do I zing back? And you could almost hear the hesitation in my voice. And then I decided, no, okay. And I kind of zinged him right back. And all of a sudden, this brother-sister relationship that we've had now going on 13 years. Oh, wow. It's 13 years this year. It's the longest 13 years of my life, but actually it's been such a great relationship to be partnered with him and his community. And I think that's one of the reasons why I've stayed in it for so long, is because of the people that I've met and I've had the privilege to travel with and to be around and to hear their stories. And it's so much fun to have the partnerships that I do besides him, attractions and the Main Street Mouse and Big Fat Panda and Laughing Place. And I have a ton of great partners that do this Disney thing, much like you, because it's joyful and it's a passion and it's something that we love to do. Not that we feel we have to do, but we actually love and enjoy.
Yeah, it's like I've been listening to Lou since it was the old podcast.
And I didn't know him back then.
Radio.
I don't even think I've ever heard an episode of that, and I've heard about it, obviously, but but I haven't dove in because, of course, I'm preoccupied with things like eating on garbage cans and and trying to figure out how to do the next thing up away from the sweaty hugs at Marathon and trying to guess what's on the whiteboard of all the things he hasn't told me yet. So, yeah, that partnership does keep me pretty busy, and I'm pretty blessed.
Yeah. But it's kind of funny just because I remember when that show ended and he started WDW Radio, yet as far as I'm concerned, you've always been a part of it.
Aw, thank you.
Because I'm sure whenever, it's like you weren't there at the beginning, but as far as I'm concerned, as long as I've known Lou, that
thanks.
Becky's always been part of it.
I feel like I've earned my dues. I mean, there was a time on the cruise that you were on with us for the Richard Sherman, where he's walking up on stage and he literally, I hand him the microphone. He looks back at me, goes, "What do you think about maybe a 40-hour show?"
Yeah.
And then he just walks up on stage and announces this 40-hour show that I'm going, I can barely make it past midnight right now.
Yeah.
I'm only going to do a 40-hour show. So it's always it's always a bag of cats when we're working together and the things that are thrown around. But it is so much fun. I couldn't think of doing this without working with someone like Lou, and he's one of the most positive, joyful individuals. And don't tell him I said this. I will deny it, even though it's recorded. I will deny it. I feel so lucky to have partnered with him and to be his sidekick for how many ever years. And I will take the abuse, but the funny part is that a lot of people don't know that I kind of get some back too. It's just not recorded.
Yeah.
I really, really enjoy it. And again, I love the community. The WDW radio community is full of a bunch of people who are so like-minded, love Disney, love theme parks, love each other, support each other. And you know how the internet can be a negative place sometimes at times.
Oh, really?
Shocker.
I know.
But no matter what, this group of people always manages to keep everything so positive and so supportive of each other. Even if Lou isn't around, they are supporting each other in the Box People group. And I've probably met people in this community, in the Disney fan community as a whole, that are closer to me than my family are. And they literally are family. And I will go and I will spend time at their houses and I will spend holidays with them and go on vacation with them. And, again, it's just such a great place to, if you find that group of people that are your people and you feel comfortable and you can be vulnerable and you can be picked on by a guy with a puppet on his hand and you can, go through all of these different tirades in your life, and you've got this group of people who are there to just, hug you or to say, hey, you did a great job, or hey, have a great day, or just smiling at you. It's awesome.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, being all the way up here in, crossroads of America, Indiana, it's like I could easily get to a lot of places, but at the same time, it's like, it's a 2-hour plane ride to Orlando from here. If you can get a non-stop flight, which, is good. And it's, flying out to Anaheim is a bit of a jump, but, it's still somewhat reasonable. But there's times, especially, when Lou has, the meets of the month and other things where it's like, why do I have to live so far away? Because, it's just like Lou is always announcing different, things, you guys doing Adventures by Disney and going to Japan and going on cruises and this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, I need to win the lottery and move closer so
we
I
know
can
that
join in all the fun.
Yeah.
But having that community in social media, whether it's a Facebook group or whatever, is definitely makes the length in between trips seem not nearly as agonizing as it could be, because we're able to share pictures and video, and Disney as a whole has gotten good about trying to with their different properties to try and do stuff outside of the parks, like they had the Mickey birthday exhibit in New York City, and Marvel had the MCU exhibit in Seattle, and now it's in Philadelphia, which I'm going to next week, and I'm very excited.
Nice. It's really cool.
So it's like I'm going to go drool over all the costumes and the props. And like so and the different D23 events all over the places. So it's like Disney recognizes that, yes, for a lot of people, either Disneyland or Walt Disney World are home, but you can't always be there as much as you'd like.
Right.
So they try to get the magic out there as much as possible. And you and Lou, especially Lou with his crazy ideas, also tries to find a way to bring the WDW radio community to those who can't make it to Florida or California. So.
Absolutely. And I think that's why I have always enjoyed Wednesdays are one of my favorite days, because he does his live stream from wherever he happens to be. And you pop in there and the chat starts going and people are, saying hi to each other. And, even spirited debates that are happening recently with some of the changes and the upheaval with ticket increases and all the, more controversial things, ends up being a really good, positive discussion, while, you kind of point out why they're doing things for business reasons or why not. But it was really enlightening to see everybody's opinions without it having to go off the rails, and it's very refreshing. Much like, the family is not just the community, but I'm also blessed to have a team of almost 100 affiliate travel professionals under me that work with MEI Travel and Mousefan Travel across the nation. And it's like my little family as well. It's like having a whole bunch of sisters that are trying to accomplish something every day amongst the challenges that come up in the travel industry. So I'm, again, this industry has brought so much to me.
Yeah, I'm a kind of like Lou. He considers himself a reformed lawyer. I'm a reformed travel agent, I guess. So I was
recovering. It's recovering.
Yes, recovering. I'm recovering travel agent. Now I just plan trips for myself and my family, but I don't get paid. I just.
Well, we're always looking for people with experience. Just
yeah.
saying.
Well, I gave it up when the podcast started, so it's like I had to choose. Yeah, and I found a lot more joy out of the podcasting than the being a travel agent. But before I was an agent, and once I started going back to Disney on a regular basis, because I would go semi-regular. I would go to Florida on a regular basis because my parents would ship me off to my grandmother for summer vacation. Like, here, go to Florida, get a tan, have fun with grandma. And so I spent a lot of summers in Florida as a kid, not necessarily going to Disney, but we would go occasionally. And then once my grandmother passed, my mom's just heart really wasn't in it to go to Florida. And by then I was, in high school and neck deep in extracurricular activities, and I had a part-time job and all that stuff anyway. So, but once I got out of high school and into college and found myself with, more free time, and enough time had passed, and my mom was like, she's like, we should go on a vacation. Where do you want to go? And it just so happened that I had been at a friend's house, and her younger siblings were watching some old home movies, really poking fun at what they were wearing at the time. But it just so happened that they were at Walt Disney World. And looking at it, I was like, I've not been to Disney in so long, and I know a whole lot has changed, because at this point it had been more than a decade. At least. And so my mom was like, we should go on vacation. Where would you want to go? I'm like, I want to go back to Walt Disney World. So I jumped into planning, and this was 2007. So early days of podcasting, really. And I was looking for something to help me plan my trips. And that's how I found Lou's old show. And the power of the internet, and between Lou's old podcast and the internet, I was able to come up with an itinerary and figure out fast passes and that sort of thing. So we had a great trip, and my mom was like, okay, that was fun. That was exhausting, but it was fun. And the following year, I'm like, I want to go again. So, and nobody wanted to necessarily go with me. So I booked my own airfare, and I called up MEI Mousefan Travel, and I was like, I need an agent to book me a trip to Walt Disney World. And I got paired with one of your agents, and we still keep in touch with her even during that stint where I was an agent. I would keep in touch with her now that I'm not. When next time we need a trip planned, I'll go back to Vicky and be like, Vicky, need a trip planned, need a trip booked.
We are always here for you.
Yes.
And I know how this whole thing, I got my love for Disney from my dad. And I know how that our families and our parents have caused this problem. It's like, hello, I'm Becky. I have a problem. Mine is Disney. Mine started when my daddy took me to Disneyland for my 7th birthday. And he has since passed, but when I go through the gates of Disneyland now, I see him, I feel him, I have all the memories of being with him at that early age. And the funny thing is I only went one time, but it was always in my memories as being some of the happiest times I've ever been. So when I got older and I went on the road, I was on the road working with, believe it or not, rock bands for several years. On my 21st birthday, we had just finished a tour, and I got in my car and I drove to the gates of Disneyland. I spent the night in the parking lot, which is now probably part of California Adventure, most likely where Starbucks is now, is where I parked. And I spent my 21st birthday in Disneyland. And that was the second time I went to Disney. So first when I was 7, second when I was 21. And it all just kind of got into the blood and got into my veins, and I was hooked from then on.
Yeah. Once you go, it's probably a terrible analogy, but I imagine it's probably similar to what it's like taking, some sort of drug for the very first time. You get that first hit and that amazing high, and you want to chase it again and again and again and again.
Exactly. I actually have a picture of myself on that day, on that 21st birthday, with my hand in the air, thrilled to be there. And I keep thinking someday I should post that. And then I realized, no, probably not. No, not smart. That could come back to haunt me.
It's like, which will we see first? Becky's 21st birthday or the grease tape?
Oh my gosh. Oh, well, probably that, the 21st birthday. Now my 7-year-old picture probably will never see the light of day. That's going to be locked up in the vault with the grease tape.
Oh, it can't be any worse than me at like 11 or 12 in the stocks in Liberty Square with my patchwork denim short overalls on with my pubescent greasy hair and acne-ridden face.
Oh,
so.
Dude, I had like the pixie cut. I had pixie cut and 1970 something ish glasses on with cat's eye glasses, which are probably back in style by now, but still. Just the thought. I could just see the memes coming about that, so I'll just leave that alone for now.
Probably good. Otherwise, a current puppet might end up with a friend.
No, not the puppet.
Don't give him any more ammunition.
I still don't know how that. I don't know how it happened. I am not blonde, FYI, and I don't know where the voice came from. I apparently I'm Queen Elizabeth with some sort of strange hive. I don't know how that happened. Yeah.
Who knows what happens to that strange New Jersey brain of his?
So.
Hey.
There's something in the water. It makes the pizza dough and the bagels taste really good, but it also
some lingering effects. Yeah,
it's a lingering effect, and you end up with Lou Mangello. So he's got way more years of New Jersey air and water consumption on you, Brittany. So you're fine.
So you're saying eventually.
See what you have to look forward to.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Oh my. I hope Lou hears us. We made fun of you.
I'm pleading the fifth right now because I'll pay for that later if that.
Yeah. when I see him in September, when he comes up for the Indie Disney meets,
which guess what? I'm going to be there too.
You are?
Yes. Yeah, we're actually an official sponsor this year.
Yes, you're sponsoring the big giveaway.
Yeah, a few things actually, and the big giveaway is one of them. And so Lou and I, he's the one that said, "You've got to see this meet. You've got to come up here. You've got to see these guys." And I've been involved in several types of Disney fan meets across the country throughout the years with Mouse Fest, and I helped Fred with Magic Meets a long time ago, and a couple of others that I've done. And so anytime that I hear about these wonderful grassroots efforts to bring Disney magic to people in their backyards, I'm just immediately drawn to it. And when Lou came back last time, he said how much fun he had and all the people that were there and all of the joy that was spread around that room. And of course, they also do the thing that gets to my heart. The moment that you mentioned a charity, I'm in. When they said, "Give Kids the World," I'm like, I'm in. What do you need?
Yeah.
I'm here. And so this time it worked out perfectly on the calendar, and I said, okay, I'm going to show up. So I think Lou and I are going to share a little space and have, much like we do at D23, which we're doing this year as well. We have a interesting booth that we're putting together as usual. Lou and I have done a booth together on D23 since the very first expo. Yep. So we'll do another thing at Indy, and I'm looking forward to seeing everybody there and seeing this new.
Yeah, the space at Indy is a little bit smaller than D23, so whatever balloon monstrosity you might have planned, you got to scale it down a little.
Well, I think my budget only has one balloon a year, and D23 is going to get it this year. So I'm sorry, Indy. It might be a while before you get a balloon.
We might say at the Indy Disney Meet, it will be a balloon.
Here, have a balloon.
Single balloon.
It's going to be the red or blue. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But definitely looking forward to meeting everybody there and just having a great time.
It's such a fun event. So I'm so glad that my life has finally gotten to the point where I could actually start going and also, table and be part of it and be able to contribute to the silent auction and help raise money for Give Kids a World and all that. So yay, that's even more exciting that both Lou and Becky are going to be at the TV. So schedule permitting, maybe we need to plan a meal or something outside.
Oh my gosh. Food, of course.
Yes. I know some good places that you guys need to try that don't necessarily involve huge tenderloins. So, because I know that's a thing we do here in Indiana. We love our big old tenderloins, but there's more than that in Indiana, and I know some places. So
awesome. Awesome.
We'll coordinate schedules as we get closer to the event.
Sounds good.
So, oh my. So now I'm even more excited. Ideas. Especially the charity. If you go on the MAI websites, really, you guys have got a dedicated page for the different charities and organizations you're involved in, and it's a long list.
Yeah, well, when we started this, my husband and I sat down, and when I started this whole travel company way back when, part of the corporate charter was to give back. We wanted to create something that we could be proud to be part of, and part of that is giving back to the community. So usually throughout the year, sometimes we advertise it, sometimes we don't, but every month we kind of take some of our profits and give it to some of our very favorite causes. And over time, the ones that kind of raised to the surface have been Give Kids the World, and then breast cancer awareness and fighting that. Leukemia Lymphoma Society has been a big one for me because my father passed of leukemia. Best Friends Animal Society is my love. I adore animals. I don't have kids. I have 3 furry kids. I have 3 cats, and our animals are our babies. And so Best Friends Animal Society is one of the premier efforts that are out there that help homeless animals and help awareness and no-kill shelters and so forth. So we do a lot of giving to them. Ryman Arts is another one of our very favorite charities, which of course was started in the name of Herb Ryman, and was championed by Marty Sklar. And when he passed, that effort has lived on, and so we give a lot to them every year. And then, of course, we have Make-A-Wish through Lou's Dream Team, which, for example, right now, any bookings that are made through July 31st, we're giving a portion of the profits to the Dream Team for Make-A-Wish. So it definitely is something that's close to our hearts. And it's not just me. It's everyone on my team. Several of them chip in when we do this too, because they want to make sure that they're giving and sharing the wealth and giving back as well. So I'm pretty proud of that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we've got our own small selection of charities that we like to support, and the Dream Team is one of them. So
Cool.
Yep. So yeah, that's very, very awesome and very important. You know, all of those organizations are important for, you know, their own different causes. So it's a little emotional. Because I know Lou has had the opportunity to occasionally meet a child that has benefited from the Dream Team project. So
yes, every year, one of the families comes to the marathon event, and we get to meet the family, we get to meet the child, we get to meet them and hear from them, and you know, your heart just goes out to them. But what's really cool though is it's not a sympathy thing, because they're in a very happy place. They're there with their family. They're having a great time. They're able to have a little joy in their lives, and it's emotional, but yet it feeds the soul. It really feeds the soul.
Yes. And we could keep going about Disney.
I know. It's like
that is a very big chunk of it, but
we do.
MEI doesn't do just Disney, much to Lou's chagrin. You guys do handle that other park. Across the way.
I could kind of explain this a little bit too, because a lot of people are like, "What is MEI? What does that mean?" And it's funny because I started this journey in travel back in 1999, and I was an independent contractor affiliated with another agency. And at that time, you're supposed to have your own business name, even though you're affiliated. We didn't really use the other company name. So MEI Travel was Mahnken Enterprises Inc. or Magical Experiences. There's all kinds of little things that I have trademarked for what it's called. But we did everything. I did Disney, I did Universal, I do every single cruise line across the world. If you want to go to Fiji, we can do that. If you want to go to Japan and not go to Disney Tokyo Sea, I don't know why you would want to do that. Yeah, really. But if you wanted to go, you can. So MEI Travel handles all of that. We do everything. But because we do have such a huge niche in the Disney fan community, we have a division called Mousefan Travel. So people can go there if all they're interested in is going to Disney and living and breathing Disney like a lot of us do. We have agents that handle things within Mousefan Travel, and that's their bread and butter as well. They love Disney. They are all about it. They know every single change that occurs in the parks. They are so well versed in what's happening, what's latest, what's new, the new hotels, the new rides, the new, requirements. So agents who handle business from Mousefan Travel are truly Disney experts. So we also have Universal Fan Travel for Universal, where we do have a pocket of agents that are experts in Universal and all of its parks and its resorts and its experiences. So we do have those three little branches just to make sure that you get an agent who is an expert in that niche. So that kind of explains why we have the three different, where MEI Travel is like the umbrella that oversees it all. The Mousefan Travel and Universal Fan Travel are the two areas that you're going to get someone who knows what they're talking about.
And that's one of the reasons why using a travel agent is something that I highly, highly recommend. Even though I have been an agent myself and have been through all the training and everything. Even now, I would be comfortable booking something myself, but I don't necessarily want to, because having someone who, stays up on the training, and I know Disney, is constantly updating their training stuff whenever a new resort opens or, new promotion or whatever. comes out, and Universal's training is pretty extensive too, because I went through theirs as well.
Mm-hmm.
But having someone that knows your vacation inside and out, what to expect, what's going on, and not just knows the product, but gets to know you.
Yes,
is so important.
So important.
And that's one of the things that I could not emphasize enough, both when I was an agent and now, is yes, you can book directly through Disney, and it's going to cost you the same, because most travel agencies, it doesn't cost you anything to use their services. But if you have a question and you book directly through Disney, you call, you may be stuck on hold, and you're going to get some random person. You're not going to get the same person on the phone every time, as opposed to having a dedicated travel agent where you've got a question, you want to change an ADR or something. That's an advanced dining reservation for those who don't know the lingo. Someone who knows the lingo, that you can get a hold of them, and they get to know you and your family and the members of your family, and birthdays and anniversaries and dietary restrictions and things like that, that you're not going to get by calling a call center.
Yeah, you just did my job for me. I'm done.
Yeah.
Actually, there's so many reasons, and you're so right. First of all, I kind of look at us and go ahead and laugh. I say this all the time, but it actually is quite true. In a way, a travel agent or travel consultant, vacation planner, whatever you want to call us, we're like a flight attendant in a way. Sure, we're going to help you board the plane, sit down, you can have some snacks, and, we're going to get to know you. We're going to know that you want Diet Pepsi instead of Diet Coke. We're going to, get all that piece together. But we're really, really, really important when something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And if having a travel agent in your back pocket is having an advocate. So if you book something online, this isn't just Disney, but anything that you do, because right now, you can pretty much go to a website and book any vacation anywhere. However, if something goes awry, and I just had this happen last night, I had a client contact me because she decided to book her own air, and she went for price instead of not realizing what she was doing. She booked it through Expedia. It's not a code share. So she actually has to go to one city, and then she'll have to get off the plane, go get her luggage, recheck it into a second airline to then go on to her final destination, because it was price. It was the lowest price. It's like, no. It's lowest price is not the best scenario. So now she's got an hour to get off the plane, go out through security, go get her baggage, go take it to another airline, check that in, and get back through security. So it's that type of thing. So if anything goes awry, you have someone to help you. I had another one where a client was on a ship, and due to storms had to disembark in a completely different port than where they were supposed to disembark the night before they were supposed to go. And he's texting me on Facebook Messenger going, okay, I need to fly out of Miami instead of MCO. Can you help me? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Let's do this thing. And I'm working on it. He's sitting there having a cocktail on his laptop, texting me, and we're taking care of it while there's lines. There's an hour or a 2-hour long line at guest services for people trying to get their help to figure out how they're going to get to Port Canaveral the next day. So you've got someone there to help you. And it's not just like you said, you call, you could be on hold forever. If anybody has ever for Disney called in for free dining or anytime something's released, it's a 6-hour hold time at times. In all honesty, sometimes free dining isn't even the best deal for you. Yeah. So a lot of people don't realize that. They just hear the word free and they go, oh my gosh, free dining, I got to get that. It's the best. When in fact, it might be better to go for the 30% off and the lower rate for the room, as opposed to the free dining, which is rack rate. You could actually save more money the other way. So again, you've got the advocate who could sit there, go through the math and say, this works better than that if you really want to look at the options.
Yeah.
And then another one that comes along is if the price goes down, Disney's not going to call you and say, hey, by the way, we just saved you $600.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
So when there's a better price, when there's a better offer for you, we call you, we proactively apply it. And, another reason why a travel agent is good to have in your back pocket. And like you said, the services are free from us. There are agencies out there who will charge service fees. So it's a question you have to ask when you're looking to find an agent.
Yeah. And one thing that
Sorry, I'm hearing a lot of background noise, so sorry.
That's okay.
I'm not sure what that is. It's not me, I promise.
Can't even blame it on the cat.
Okay. It's not my cat.
It happens.
Oh yeah.
So, and the one thing, when you say, using a travel agent, a good number of travel agents, they don't charge anything. It's free to use them. This is something I heard a lot when I was an agent, and thankfully, in some ways, my client list never got so big that I really had to deal with this. It was mostly just family that I was booking for, but just because using a service like Mousefan Travel is free doesn't mean that the agents are still getting paid. And I think that's something that a lot of the everyday folks don't realize, that if it's like, oh, well, if I can book it through Disney directly and it's going to cost me the same as using an agent, I'll just book it through Disney. And I think some people think that, somehow the agent is still going to get paid just for being an agent. No, if you don't book with the agent, they don't get paid, because they get paid off of the commission that Disney gives for that. So by also booking with an agent, you're also helping, not necessarily a small business owner, because a lot of times the agents are contracted out with a lot of agencies, but still you're helping, maybe a mom who's, doing this job because it allows her to work from home so she can be with her kids. Book with her, she gets the commission, and her kids get to do soccer or something.
Absolutely. And in our case too, you're also helping the fan community, because we're giving back to sponsorship, like sponsoring WDW Radio or giving back to the charities. All of those are benefits as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. A lot of people don't realize that it's like, we're not paying people on an hourly basis. They are paid from the commission. So, one of the frustrations is, I know that you probably are aware of, someone will come and you'll spend, half a day working on an itinerary for somebody, and then they don't come back to book with you. But then you see on Facebook that they took this fabulous vacation using all of your advice. and you're like, whoa, no, wait a minute. I worked like 6 or 7 hours and didn't charge you a thing. And I get paid for when you travel after you book with me. So I don't think a lot of people really understand how that works. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah. So don't skimp on using your
exactly. And another couple of
things. They need to get paid.
Yeah, another couple of things that people don't realize too is that you get the Disney person who is really into planning themselves, because we know that for some of us, it's a joy. It's like, I have my spreadsheet and I know what I'm going to do every 2 hours of the day, and I've got this all planned out. That doesn't mean that we'll take that away from you. Yeah. You can have us do as little or as much as you want. I have people that just say, you know what, I'm booking with you. Just watch for the discount. I've got everything else. And it's like, okay, that works for me. Then you got the other people like, I've never been there. I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. And we could sit and plan out a day-to-day itinerary for you. So it's completely based on your needs and what you want to do on your vacation.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes the agent is more attentive at your itinerary than you may happen to be. Like when I was planning and booking my wedding / honeymoon and realized that we had a gap in our hotel stays where we had a night where we weren't staying anywhere. And
oops. I will not confirm nor deny if I've ever done that to myself.
You get a nice email from your agent going, would you like to add a night to either one of these stays?
Just in case you'd like to sleep somewhere besides the back of the rental car. Yeah, yes. Exactly. The other thing a lot of people don't realize too is that, in this age of everything's online, they think that they just, go and that we're going to a airline site and booking that, and then going to a hotel site and booking that, or going to the Disney site and booking that. But we're actually working with suppliers who create packages. Excuse me. And those packages, Disney's, we all know what's going on with that. But there's when you're going around the world, and there are these wonderful experiences that you could miss out on if you didn't know that they existed. Mm-hmm. And packages sometimes have discounts because you're packaging it together, but they also have added benefits and added values that we can customize and tailor a trip. So instead of being on the bus with 47 people to get off and hop on and hop off at, $20 a person, you might pay $50 a person, but you have a private car that takes you the places that you want to go and spend the amount of time that you want to be there when you're sightseeing. So we can really grind down into those little details of the things that you really want to experience and what will make it better and tailored to your family for what you want to do. So there's a lot of benefits of using somebody who has that firsthand experience and knowledge. And even cruises, where a lot of people used to be really scared about booking a cruise on their own, it's become easier and easier online. But still, there are so many choices. And it's not just about the cruise line anymore. It's about the specific ship. And it's not even just about the specific ship. It's about the category of cabin, where some ships might have, 35 different categories. And if you're just going for the lowest price, you might end up in a place that's right across the way from a laundry room and right underneath a disco. And you may have the most horrific time of your life because you didn't know what you were booking.
Yes.
And, there's no way to do over your vacation if something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's also dependent on the agent too, if they're engaged or not. So it's just like any other service. If you go to a restaurant, sometimes you're going to have service that is just mind-blowing and great, and that person is so attentive to your needs. And then sometimes you're going to have a server that may not be so much. So I always tell people, make sure that you treat your choice of agents like you would an accountant or a lawyer or your doctor, and talk to them and really make sure that they're engaged and they want a relationship with you. They want to talk with you. They want to know your likes and dislikes. They want to really understand so that they craft a vacation that fits the needs of your family.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So with all this talk of, you got an agent, you've got a vacation in mind, destination in mind, be it Disney World or Disneyland, or DCL or Universal or the like. You've got all that taken care of. Let's talk about, let's say we're planning a trip for this year or next year, because I know booking for some of 2020 is now open. So, especially Disney, but Universal as well. has got some very exciting things that have recently opened in some cases, and in some other cases are going to be opening in the next year or two. So let's get our really fangirl hats on and talk about what's new and what's coming. that people need to be aware of, especially in the next few years, because one, it's very exciting to be, a fan going to these theme parks, but two, it's changing the landscape and the way that people will be vacationing, because of whatever, whenever the latest greatest thing is open, you see that affect crowd levels and wait times and things. I mean, people were waiting 10 hours for Hagrid's motorbike adventure at Universal. And that was just one single attraction, as compared to like Galaxy's Edge, where it's an entire land.
Right.
So.
Well, it's just a great time to be a theme park fan.
Yes.
That's kind of what I got to put out there right away.
Becky is still trying to pick up her brains off the floor from going to Galaxy's Edge out in Disneyland.
Oh, yeah. At the very least, I've done 4 shows on it now, just talking specifically about that. And I still don't think I've covered everything that I experienced out there. And
you really can't, because technically it's not even complete yet.
Oh yeah.
It's not even technically all open yet. So.
And that's the funny part, is it really isn't about the attraction. Well, I will tell you, it's cool. The Millennium Falcon is incredibly cool when you're standing on the bridge and you're walking through the tunnels and you are in the set and you are on the ship. It is, you want to talk about geeking out. It really is that moment of really, and you want me to move? It's like you're standing in the queue and the queue moves and you're mad because you're still looking at all the cool
I'm
things.
having a moment here.
Yes.
Just hold on a second and be like, Chewie, we're home.
Yes.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. And when you get into the spot where before you get handed what you're going to do when you get on board or when you get into the cockpit, right there is that iconic chess game table, and you're hoping that they don't call you so you can get your selfie at that table before they tell you that it's your turn to go to the ride, because once you do that, you're done. So there's so many Easter eggs in there to look at and to absorb, and then all of a sudden they go, blue team. It's like, no, can I be somebody else? Can you trade me because I want to do something else? Galaxy's Edge is amazing, and I love the fact though that Universal did Diagon Alley, because if they didn't do the immersive detail at Diagon Alley, I don't think we would have had as good of a result with Galaxy's Edge. I think that's why you get those fans who are like, oh, it's the dark side. You know what? I love them both. It's okay to go to Las Vegas and love New York. It's okay to love Disney Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean. It's okay. So when I walked into Diagon Alley, and I'm a big Harry Potter fan, so is my husband. He even read me chapters of the books when we were on a train for 24 hours, go figure. And I loved it. I walked in there and you see all those details that aren't in your face. You can just kind of see them. It's like, wow, I know what that is. I don't know if the guy next to me knows what that is, but I know what that is. And then, for me, that was the most detailed land of any theme park anywhere across the globe when that land came out. Now, then Pandora came along, which I love, but it still wasn't as immersive. Pandora's
beautiful, though.
Pandora's beautiful, and Flight of Passage, it was at that time, and it probably still is right now, one of the most immersive, coolest rides ever, because I've never walked off an attraction. And I mean, I was speechless, and Lou actually recorded us the moment we got off.
I think I cried a little after walking off a Flight of Passage.
Yeah, because you could feel that animal breathe, but you can. It was an experience, but it didn't have that. The land didn't come to life for me. when I walked into Galaxy's Edge for the first time, it was amazing because the sight lines, you cannot see anything else, which is amazing in Disneyland, because if you've ever been there, it is cram packed, and the space that they've used for the footprint is amazing, but there's no sight lines to see anything else. You forget you're in a theme park. If you know, and if you are a fan of this movie and this universe, you will just immerse yourself right into it. You are part of the story, and then everyone around you is too. And the cast members, the Batuians, we've had so much fun trying to figure out. I'm just gonna say the citizens of Batu, they have their own stories, and they have made up their own character stories. And I could spend the entire day not even going on an attraction, not building a lightsaber, not doing anything else, but just talking to the citizens. Because you might discover that you're part of a story that you didn't even realize that you were part of. So, yeah, it's one of the most impressive experiences I have had in a theme park. I think they knocked it out of the park. And the funny part is Rise of the Resistance hasn't even opened yet. So that's going to be kind of amazing.
Yeah. But in the meantime, if you need Becky, she'll be at Oga's Cantina.
Yeah. Let's eat tauntauns for everybody. Those. I walked in there and I literally went, "These are my people. This is my people. Can I buy a table now?" It was
a little plaque on it.
Yeah, exactly. Just mine. Just if I show up,
Becky Megan table.
Yep. Just bring on the tauntauns, or the yip nip, whatever that is. I love. Oh, I had so much fun with that whole thing.
Or the
yub nubs, the tip. Yeah, the yub nub and the tip yip was the food over at the if Docking Bay, which was really good. So I hats off to that. And like you said, that's just one thing. And now it's opening in Walt Disney World, which is going to be interesting to see how they handle crowds. Disneyland had the benefit of not having more than 3 hotels to kind of deal with. World is going to be a little bit different. Yeah. But with that coming, and then we all have our sights on Rise of the Resistance when that comes out. So it's going to add a whole new layer to that land. But right on the heels of it, we have to say goodbye to Illuminations. But we're saying hello to Epcot Forever, which forever means a year, I think.
Yeah. Year, 18 months.
Yeah, but whatever it takes. Again. But I'm looking forward to that because even though it's a temporary show, I was privileged to be able to talk with one of the show directors who did a presentation on what to expect. And if you are a fan of Epcot at any level, it's going to be hard to say goodbye to this show because it is going to rip at the heartstrings of anybody who even has any type of bond or association with anything in Epcot. It's going to be pretty cool. And then, around the corner of that, we get Marvel Land and Disneyland again, which, it's going to be hard.
I get all tingly over just thinking about it.
And,
the Star Wars, what? Y'all go have fun playing in the Millennium Falcon. I'm going to be over here.
Yeah.
Tony Stark, thank you very much.
Stark Towers, yep.
When they
there are construction walls up at California Adventure at the moment that some of them on the outside, it says Stark Industries and has the logo on them. So,
yep. And it is going to be mind blowing because they've been planning this.
So excited.
It has been in planning stages and now it's getting to operational pieces. And I know the people are excited to show their craft. When this thing is done, the Imagineers are going to, show off yet another piece of brilliance. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there because the draw, you're going to see who are the fans of what. Are you at Disneyland for Galaxy's Edge? Are you at California Adventure for Marvel Land? I'm totally excited about that.
My husband and I are going to have separate vacations.
Indeed. I think
it's going to be at Disneyland. I'm going to be at California Adventure.
That's where you have to share. Saturday here, Sunday there, Monday here, Tuesday there, and have your equal opportunity access. And then around the corner from that, I'm just going to keep going until you stop me.
Oh, go ahead.
2021, we're going to be seeing all of the changes at Epcot that are coming, and I think we're going to hear a lot at Expo this year. D23 Expo is going to be full of things. So, 2 years ago, they told us all about Galaxy's Edge coming and all the things that we're now experiencing. That's going to be where they're going to tell us what we're going to be excited about next.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling that's just going to be full of all kinds of things that we're just going to be jumping up and down about, and that we won't be able to wait for.
You'll be hooked on a feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
They're plugging away at that the Guardians of the Galaxy attraction at Epcot. So
yeah. Well, have you done Guardians of the Galaxy Breakout?
No, I haven't been back to Disneyland since it changed. So.
Okay, so dude, it's a party and a ride. That's the only thing that I could say when I got off of it. It's a party and a ride, and I'm like a dark and twisty person. I really like the darker, more sinister things like Haunted Mansion, and I love Hollywood Tower of Terror because I just like that feeling. So when I heard that it was being changed over, I was like, I don't know about this. Kind of iffy about it. I got on that ride and I wanted to go on it again, and I wanted to go on it again, and I wanted to go on it again. There are our agents in the agency. We have a little rule that if you haven't been on an attraction, you have to go at least once, unless you have a medical condition that bars you from it, because that way you can really speak to it. You can't really guess if an 8-year-old is going to be scared by it or not if you haven't been on it yourself, right? Mm-hmm. So there were a couple agents who were like, I am not going on that thing. I don't want to fall. I don't want to be in an elevator. And I went with somebody and I held their hand and they got off that and they were like, whoa, we got to get a new song on the next time. And we were right back in queue. So it's a lot of fun. And so if they put any of that type of element, I think what they've done so brilliantly is bring through that comedy and that whimsicalness that you get from the movies and from the characters into the attractions so well and so seamlessly that
and there's a Stan Lee cameo.
Yeah, there is. And then a lot of people don't realize on Halloween they do an overlay. They do an immediate overlay starting at 6:00 at night, and so it changes. The music changes and the attraction changes, and you don't have to wait for it like you do at Haunted Mansion, where it takes a while for them to do the overlay. Yeah, this one is just at 6:00 it changes over. And nice. It is a really cool second neat experience. So if you haven't done it, you have to. That's just one of those must do things. Yeah. Sitting there. So and then even to keep going on in 2021, we're going to see the next Disney Cruise Line ship. Mm-hmm. Ooh. And then let's geek you out a little bit more because we don't know exactly when this is going to happen, but I have a feeling it'll be about the same time. We'll see the Star Wars hotel.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Disney as a company, I mean, they've got some big anniversaries coming up. Yeah. In the upcoming years. I mean, 2021 will be the Magic Kingdom's 50th? And then 2023 will be essentially the Walt Disney Company's 100th anniversary. So, they've got some really big anniversaries coming up that Disney likes to tie in for birthdays and anniversaries. I mean, we're still celebrating Mickey's 90th, and that was months ago.
Yeah.
So
that'll be going on for a while, and it's kind of cool to fill the gaps. Then what do? They do things like bring out walls and new cupcakes and new drinks you have to have and new food offerings. And oh, by the way, here's another pin and here's some merchandise you can't live without. So every time that there's a little gap between the things that are opening, there's always something that makes you want to go back, makes you want to see it, makes you want to, subscribe to Facebook or to Instagram to see what people are posting and doing. They've just done a really good job of keeping us engaged.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Universal is over here like, we've rethemed the Jurassic Park ride.
Well, actually, I have a feeling that they're not going to be outdone. While Disney will have a lot of its anniversaries, a lot of great things coming. Universal also has some great things coming. They've purchased a whole bunch of land recently, and it'll be interesting to see what they announce for that.
And they're adding more on-property hotels or very near property hotels, and now they've got their own water park. And
yep, so it's a great experience. And I always highly encourage people to, you know what, if you want to go to Disney World and you want to see what this whole thing is about, spend a couple of nights there. Just do a pre or post at Universal. Try to stay at one of the hotels that you get the express pass included. And then you can enjoy what Universal has to offer, and then bop back over to Disney World or vice versa. So it's a great experience, no matter how you do it. If you do it pre or post,
or smack dab in the middle, like I did last time. We just went for the one day Universal, but still, it's kind of nice actually to leave. Luz would roll over if you hear me say this, but it's kind of nice to leave the Disney bubble, even for a day in the middle of a trip, just to get a different feel.
Well, here's the thing. Is it? And I always get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's not supposed to be Disney, where everyone's like, it's not Disney. It's not supposed to be. That's the point.
Yeah.
It's a whole different experience for a whole different type of clientele. They're not trying to target the 3 to 10-year-olds. They're trying to target the teenagers. They're trying to target families with teens. They're going after whole
30-somethings.
Yeah, or the 40-somethings that will stand in line to ride the Hagrid's coaster. They have a lot of different experiences there that appeal to a whole bunch of different people. And people who go to Universal sometimes are the opposite, where they're like, Disney isn't for me, and that's okay too. I feel very blessed that we're in a time that technology and storytelling is all smashing together so well that we are so engaged that we will go to a con and stand in those lines forever to see a panel based on something that we adore, because technology has matched storytelling. Mm-hmm. And we'll even dress up like them, and we'll even buy wands, and we'll buy lightsabers. We'll buy $200 lightsabers. Go figure. Mm-hmm. We'll plop down the money for different things because they appeal to us, and they're being presented to us right in front of us, and we can't resist. And so we have, a million Funko Pops. Mm-hmm. 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 I don't think I just explained anybody who's on this, right?
Yeah. Preaching to the choir.
Yep. Yeah. I've got Funkos in the area that I'm right now, and then I take a step out my door, and there is more Funkos to be found.
Yeah, I have Funko Pop staring at me right now.
Yeah, I've got 2. I have 2 Deadpool Funko Pops.
Nice.
Now, see here's you get to learn a little strange things about me. First of all, my spirit animal is Rocket. and Deadpool is my favorite Marvel character. So someone would say, I know she'd say Thor, but no, because, that works in the Disney community where it has to be PG. However, I do like my Deadpool.
Hey, we totally get it. So.
Yep, I do.
No judgments here.
Excellent.
Like,
She paraphrases something. One of us.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I would love to if I could just get into a good enough shape that I could wear the Deadpool outfit. I would do that as cosplay. I would so do it because no one would know it was a girl, and it would be awesome.
Do it.
You never know what may happen at D23 at any given time. Just saying.
Meanwhile, exercise for me has gone right out the window, and I'm working on my Lebowski Thor body.
There we go. You know what? I think that was specifically put in the movie just for anybody who felt bad about trying to cosplay Thor before.
Yeah.
How many do you think we're going to see? Really?
I saw at least 3 at the last comic convention I was at a couple weeks ago.
So here's the funny thing: is that when Frozen came out, and everybody was doing the Elsa outfits, there was one time that we were literally counting on the floor how many Elsas we saw, from the teeny little ones that were like a foot tall, all the way to the gorgeous women who had put together these beautiful outfits. But we're counting them, and we're getting to the hundreds by the end of the expo. I have a feeling that that's going to be the one I'm counting this year.
Probably.
How many? I don't even know what I'm going to call them, because I felt so sorry when I saw that. When I saw that on the screen, because I had to go see the movie the moment that I could get a ticket, and I was excited, and then that happened, and it brought down my entire world there for about a week.
It's like, oh, Thor.
I know,
but he's still worthy, so
he is still worthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's still worthy.
That's the takeaway. No matter how depressed and sad and down on yourself you may feel, someone thinks you're still worthy.
Exactly. Especially when you're with your people, bringing that full circle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, oh my, it's a good time to be a fan of lots of things. Between the theme parks and the other things and the movies, and I'm excited to see what comes out of D23 as far as announcements this year, because there's always at least one or two bombshells where people are like, what? Like, I didn't see that coming. It's like, the last one, we expected to get more details about, at the time, Star Wars Land, because we did not know it was going to be called Galaxy's Edge until D23, I think. We expected some of those things and some more information on some other stuff, but then there's like the bombshell where it's like, oh no, here's an extra DCL ship that you didn't know we were gonna do.
Yes. I had no idea about that. So when it came up, they said, oh, not 1, not 2, but 3. We were like, what?
Yeah.
Jaws hitting the floor, brains falling out of heads. It was like, no, you kidding me? How did that get past us? Because, in this community, we're all kind of whispering to each other, and you pick up on little clues and you look at things because we're just those people.
Yeah.
But that was way over my head. Didn't even see it coming. So
well, and there are some things that Disney just can't hide. Like anytime they file for like permits in like Osceola County, that's public record. So there's people that constantly checking up on like the permit office to see if Disney's filed anything. So.
It really kind of explains why way back when Walt had to look at purchasing the land for Walt Disney World, having to do it under so many different companies to keep it quiet. And that was way back then. And now, with the technology we have, how hard is it for them to try to keep a secret? And I applaud them for the ones that they do. I also applaud them for realizing that some things can't be kept secret. So for them to come out, especially for Galaxy's Edge, they didn't just say, hey, this is coming, we can't show anything. They gave us a model and said, here, this is exactly what it's going to look like. So I applaud the leadership for changing their tone on that and not being so secretive, because it wasn't going to work anyway. And being a little bit more open about the detail got us even more excited. And then obviously they were keeping just enough secret so that it was truly magical when you got there. So that change of attitude over the years has been very refreshing.
Yeah. Like you're getting finger foods now. And you'll get the full buffet later.
Exactly. And we think we're getting the buffet, but yet no, there's a whole new room of snacks over here.
Yeah. It's like you thought you were eating at Cabanas, but oh no, here's Palo brunch.
Yep, exactly.
Have a mimosa.
First meal. Here's 10.
Yeah.
And we worked it back around to food.
How does that keep happening?
I don't know.
That's one thing. If anybody ever listens to the show, make sure you eat beforehand.
Yes.
And
I did eat beforehand, and I'm getting hungry again.
See, I'm not even technically, I part of, well, I'm a sponsor of WDW Radio, but I'm not even, I don't have credentials that say my name in WDW Radio. But for some reason I can bring everything back around to food, because for some reason in the back of my brain, Lou is going food.
It's a site. It's just been ingrained into your brain. It's a Pavlovian response. I'm on a podcast talking about something Disney, therefore food must be involved.
Exactly. And Sidekick, I'll go by Sidekick. And let's see, what was it? Queen doesn't quite fit. Princess, I'll accept, but her worshipfulness was the one that I was like, okay, I will embrace that for the moment because it fits the theme. So, okay, call me that all you want. But I'm not putting cinnamon buns on my ears. I'm just
eating the cinnamon buns. Have you seen the size of those cinnamon rolls at Gaston's?
Oh, yum. Yeah, you could gain 3 pounds just looking at them or smelling them. Yeah.
And again, my co-hosts are like, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, but you're making me hungry, and I ate.
We need to go. And
you do. You need to go and do meetups there, and do a food meetup somewhere, and then people will show up.
It's on the list of things we'll get around to eventually. So, we've only been doing the show for a little over 5 years now. Our 5 year. Our 5th birthday was a couple weeks ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a long time in the podcasting arena, because some people jump in, they're like, oh, it's easy, you just talk. But then, by show 10, you're going, what do we talk about? So congratulations on keeping a show going, especially representing ladies, because it's really cool to know that there's a show out there of gals that are really keeping things going. So that's awesome.
Well, I mean, you too. I mean, the fact that you're awesome is, awesome in itself. But the fact that, you are the essentially the face associated with this company, and MEI and Mousefan Travel, you've created this, company that, has all these awards, and you've got all these amazing agents, and you're doing so many things for charity. And, that's really cool in itself to see a woman be, at the top like that, and the fact that you're a fellow fangirl is just an added bonus.
Well, thank you. That means the world to me. And I keep telling people, because I'll get are you going to retire someday? I'm like, yeah, someday, but not anywhere soon, because.
Have you seen what's coming?
Yeah, exactly. I love what I do. I love working with agents. I love working with clients. I love doing podcasts. I love talking about the things that I'm passionate about. I keep saying the moment it stops being fun and it actually feels like work, that's probably when I'm going to go, hey, maybe retirement's not a bad deal. But that's like, another 20 years down the line. You're not going to get rid of me that easily.
Yeah.
Because the the moment in 2021 when we get all these new things and they tell it's coming in 2027, I'm going to be there at the media event in 2027 to do whatever's there. So, they're going to have to pry me out of my chair before I get off the top of this company. I truly do love the people that I get to work with every day. I love that I get to talk about theme parks. I love that I get to figure out a way to give back and to give people jobs. I mean, being able to pull things together and get leads to people and get business to, like you were talking about earlier, to a mom who might just be looking for something to do while she's raising her kids and to, supplement her income. This is the perfect type of job to do if you're passionate and you're service oriented. I really do take a lot of pride in what we do. And it's kind of interesting because when we were talking about the agency stuff earlier, I want to add something to it if you don't mind. A lot of people are wondering how to find an agent. And of course, some just go online and pick somebody. But I have a few tips that people should really pay attention to, like, ask your friends and your family, but also check. Put it this way, just because an agency is out there and says, we're an agency and we're earmarked, that really doesn't mean much. In this arena, because it's really easy to become a travel agent. So it's easy for someone to say, yeah, I'm have booked myself for years, so I'm now a travel agent and I can book you. Make sure that the company that stands behind them has a great Better Business Bureau rating, and make sure that they have E&O insurance. That's a big one. A lot of agents are like, I don't even know what that is. If you ask them if they have E&O insurance and how much do they have of coverage, if they can't tell you that they have it at all, then you're probably not talking to somebody who's a real professional. There's fan agents out there that are doing great jobs, but some of them don't understand that you need licensing and insurance to actually protect clients as well. And one of the things a lot of people don't realize is that, and a lot of agencies who've been around for a long time don't know, is that if you have a website and you're doing business on the website and you can possibly be seen by residents of certain states, you have to be licensed as a seller of travel in that state to have your E&O insurance cover you in case there's a problem. So there's 5 different states you have to be a seller of travel in, and you get some agents that'll go, no, I don't live in California. I don't need a license. Yes, you do. If you're an affiliate travel agent of somebody and they're licensed in Florida, you also have to have a license. I mean, there's a lot of legalities here that kind of slip through the cracks because there's not one body that oversees travel agencies in general. So it's just like, anything else, you have to ask questions and know who you're working with, know who you're handing your credit card over to, never pay cash, never write a check. Always be protecting yourself, even though it's a happy Disney place, there's still real business legalities that go on behind it as well. So just make sure that you're interviewing people, that they're legal, that they're licensed, they know that you're insured, and you will always have your vacations well taken care of, and someone's going to be there in your corner.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, when all else fails, go to MEI.
Come on over to MEI Mousefan Travel. We are more than happy to help you. And I love how Lou does it. To all your vacation planning needs. It's like, okay, can you slow that down a minute and say it a little cooler?
Well, we do finally plan that Fiveish Fangirls girls trip.
Oh, I'm there for you. And I'll tell you one of the things, and I don't talk about this a lot, but one of my big passions is the events. I love planning events, and I've done a lot of things for a lot of clients that we don't necessarily put our banner on, because there's some things that I'll work on for the client, and then it'll be the client's event and not ours. But that's one of the things that I really love doing. I get my hands dirty, creating really magical experiences. It could be anything from just a basic dessert party all the way to we recreated the Tahitian Terrace experience in Disneyland a few years ago, which was
Nice.
3 years of working with our partners at Disney and with the partner Nostalgia that I was working with to create that. But you get into the history, and we had to make sure that we found the exact menus so that we could create a menu that was based on the menu that was served at the restaurant. And we even brought back the show complete with everything except for fire, because it was against the codes at the time. But it was really neat because the show was going on, and all of a sudden the band leader stopped and he goes, "I just want to thank whoever put this together, because what they don't know is it was my father who was the original band leader for the Tahitian Terrace, and he stood right here and did this same show." And not a dry eye in the house. We all lost it. I had no idea that he was his son. So those types of things, or when Lou and I have done the Tower of Terror, where we had be the first people to check into the Hollywood Tower of Terror Hotel. And we had it all to ourselves, and we had a dinner out on the patio and all the theming going on in there. So we can do a lot of very cool events. So if there's any corporations out there that wants to do something cool, or if you have, a meetup you want to do, we can definitely help you with those. And it's probably
if any corporations out there want to sponsor us.
Yeah. It is. At Disney, and I always kind of say this, if you can dream it and pay for it, you can do it. So you want to shut down the park? Certainly. Just get out that American Express Black Card, and not a problem.
Yeah. You got enough zeros in your bank account. Disney was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. Let's make this happen.
Exactly. One of the cool things, though, is that one of the things that I've enjoyed so much is that within the Disney fan community, it takes a bunch of us to put our heads together to make some of this happen, and sponsorship as well. A lot of people don't realize just how much this stuff costs. We put in a lot of sponsorship money to bring the cost down so that people can experience these things. It doesn't take an Apple computer or, really large, a Blizzard or someone to come in to pay for everything. If we put our heads together and our wallets together, we can do some really cool things together and it not be that expensive. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why I like working with so many great people in the Disney fan community that do such great things out there, like Lou and All Ears and Panda and all those people.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, man, we've been at it for a while. We could probably keep going.
Keep going. I know. This has been really fun, actually, chatting with you guys.
It's like, let's go back to Chris Hemsworth's biceps now.
Bring it right back around. No, is it short-haired Chris or long-haired Chris? We just lost the guys. The guys are all out now.
Yeah. You can have Chris. I will take Robert and Benedict, and at least two of us will be very, very happy. Our husbands, on the other hand, are rolling their eyes, but whatever.
Absolutely.
So speaking of events and things that are upcoming, what is on the docket that you're aware of that Lou has not kept secret from you?
Wow.
That he's a very secretive man. I know how he is.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up as far as like D23 and all that, where if people want to stop and speak to you and or Lou, where can they find you?
Right now, for me, our plans, well, we have obviously the D23 Expo. We will be on the floor every single day. We'll have a booth where he says, cats and dogs living together in the booth. We will have a booth on the floor. Please, if you're going to be at D23 Expo, come and see us. We'll also be at the Disney Indie fan event. We have a few interesting trips coming up too. We have Japan, our ABD to Japan, which does still have one room left, believe it or not. And we have a cruise going out of New Orleans in February. So we have a bunch of Disney fans joining us on that. We are starting to work on the pre-cruise activities and some of the on-cruise activities right now. We have the the Epcot Forever first showing. We have a dessert party that we're throwing there. So I'm sure there'll be a meet of the month around that time period too, so that we can see people and meet people. There's a huge docket coming up for 2020 and some of the stuff I can't talk about yet. And I'm sure that there is an entire list of information that is going to be available once Lou tells me what we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And just as an aside, if any of our listeners have been thinking about cruising, and especially with Disney, and maybe have been hesitant about it, I had been on another cruise line before, but the Richard Sherman cruise was both my husband and I's first time on DCL and my husband's first cruise ever. It's cruising with a group like, the rest of the box people and the, Lou and Becky and her agents that came along, and we finally got to meet Vicky face to face. That's a great way to literally dip your toe in the water when it comes to cruising. Is cruising with a group of people that you are like-minded, and some of them you may already know, and you're going to make friends on the cruise. Are the people that we ended up getting seated with for our dinner rotation also happen to be from Indiana.
Perfect.
So,
yeah, group cruises are the perfect way to do it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, if you're thinking of cruising with DCL, then we consider doing one of the group cruises with Lou and Becky, because it does help ease the anxiety of your first time cruising, because there can be, people concerned about motion sickness and the food and, traveling outside of the country and that sort, that sort of thing can cause an anxiety. But once you get in that group of people, and it's like cruising with a whole bunch of really cool family members that, you don't have to buy Christmas presents for.
Exactly. And with that, I should probably stop talking before I say anything I shouldn't.
Yeah. You can tell us after I've stopped recording. And as far as people who need their travel needs taken care of, where can people find you and your amazing group of agents?
Well, you can always just go to mei-travel.com, and from there's a jump point that'll take you to mousefantravel.com, universalfantravel.com, or MEI. So you can just go to that one spot, or you can go to mousefantravel.com as well if it's for Disney. We also are on all of the socials. So Facebook, it's MEI, Mousefan Travel. I have my own social stuff too, and it's Beci Mahnken, spelled weird, BECIMAHNKEN, and that's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Very nice. Well, Beci, this has been a lot of fun, and hopefully we haven't scared you too much. So
nope, all is good, and I can't wait to come back. And thank you so much for having me on today. It's been great chatting with you, ladies.
Oh, yeah, it's been lots of fun. So thank you very much.
Yes.
All righty then. Well, with that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Betham saying goodnight.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. I got my mouse ears. I got my Harry Potter wand. Let's go to Florida. Come on, guys, let's go.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Woo!
Woohoo! You have been listening to the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review on iTunes. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/Fiveish Fangirls Podcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Fiveish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/Fiveish Fangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/Fiveish Fangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.